Folks, welcome back to Talkin' Soccer. I am Justin Horniker, and we have a little bit of a St. Louis City SC update today. Some car content, of course. I do apologize. It's a little bit stormy outside, and I don't want to get my equipment rained on. So you'll have to bear with me and forgive me. I am so sorry. Some positive news out of St. Louis City training today that I want to make a video on just because I thought there was a lot of information in Bradley Carnell's availability, and I think it'd be easier to disseminate in a full video as opposed to a couple of shorts. So I guess the big news off the hop is that Nökkvi Thórisson has been cleared to travel to the U.S., has been cleared to travel to St. Louis. He's gotten his visa. And while Bradley Carnell didn't give a timeline per se on when he would be available, he said that he would be evaluated when he got here, when he's able to train with the team. So the good news is that he should be touching down sometime this weekend. St. Louis have a closed-door scrimmage in Atlanta on Saturday. They're going to do 4 30-minute halves, Carnell said, trying to kind of throw players in and out, just like they did in the preseason. I thought that was interesting. Atlanta came here as the last kind of preseason warm-up before they played Austin the first time around, and now St. Louis is going to Atlanta to do the same thing before they play Austin again. So I think I love that little bit of symmetry there, and I think it just speaks to kind of the comfortability of the two teams, the two organizations, I guess, are starting to form with each other. So that was an interesting tidbit. Anyway, Thórisson is going to be evaluated by Carnell when he's able to see him in practice next week, and to, not be too aggressive with your expectations as far as when he will be playing. I think Carnell is always a little bit cagey with kind of giving timelines, but I think it's fair to say that Thórisson has been training, preseason training with his team, but is obviously coming off an offseason. So I think he's going to take a little bit to be integrated. Expect some shorter appearances from him at first before he's ready to go longer. I think the same can be said for Joachim Nilsson, who has been making some shorter appearances for City 2. He scored 2 goals in his first 2 appearances off of headers, so some good things to expect from him, but not to expect him to start 90 against Austin or anything like that. Carnell was pretty hesitant to say that he'd be starting right away. In fact, I liked what he said, because he said not that he didn't want to discount the work that the players have already been putting in to necessarily throw Nilsson in right away, but they want to give him an opportunity to ease in himself, even though he has high expectations for his debut and for what he can bring to this team. So I think it's interesting, hearing Carnell's approach to his center backs, into his depth in general, starting to be some crowded positions, and I think they kind of relish it, honestly, to have that kind of competition between places up and down the pitch. Speaking of competition between places, João Klauss was running today. I saw him run. I saw it. He was there at practice. So let's talk about that. So João Klauss has been kind of hindered over the course of this season, obviously, with setbacks coming back from injury. This is the most optimistic I've heard Carnell talk about it. So he has one more CT scan before they determine that he's good to go. If the scan comes back and he's good, they said they hope to progressively ramp up his training next week to, maybe be ready to play within the next couple of, within the next month, let's say, if he's good to go. Obviously, that's a big if, given kind of what we know so far, but some potential positive news on João Klauss as well. Outside of that, everyone looked healthy. Everyone looked ready to go. Intensity was high at practice today, so I think there's definitely some hunger there to get back to the game, and they look well rested as well. So I'm optimistic about what the season may bring. It's coming up on the home stretch. It's coming up to crunch time, and while St. Louis didn't necessarily reinforce like many fans would have wanted to, they also didn't mess with many things as well. And given their top of the West standings, they've banked a lot of points, and it's going to be a fun little run-in, especially if João Klauss is able to get back and healthy. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. A little quick update here for you. I'll be back in the studio tonight with another video. But until then, make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe if it's your first time finding Talkin' Soccer. And as always, folks, we'll talk real soon.